Making a 300-mile-an-hour plus car isn't as easy as it sounds. It requires a lot of engineering, ambition, and funds. Alternatively, you can just shout as loudly and obnoxiously as possible and hope gullible fanboys hype the car enough to the point investors will start to throw money at the project. So today, let's talk about 5 cars that claim 300-mile-an-hour plus top speeds. Heavy emphasis on the word claim, by the way. As of the date of this video, none of these cars have achieved their 300-mile-an-hour speeds. So I made fun of this car in the old version of this video, but I will admit I'm impressed Devel was actually serious about this project. They were silent for the longest time after debuting in 2013, but the Devel 16 is back on our radar, having been shown to us again late last fall. The claims are just as outrageous as they were the first time around. We're still talking the 5,000 horsepower quad turbocharged V16, top speed 310 miles an hour, and 0 to 60 in 1.8 seconds. However, I will admit the top speed claim has since been reduced drastically from the original 350 mile an hour goal. However, 310 miles an hour is still pretty outrageous. If Devel is bold enough to bring this car back, maybe it's proof that this car wasn't just a scam after all. They've even gotten Steve Morse to design the engine for it. So far, it's achieved 4,515 horsepower with 3,519 pound-feet of torque. On pump gas, the car's stats fall all the way down to 3,002 horsepower and 2,407 pound-feet of torque. Honestly, I don't doubt that the engine is fake, as it's not unheard of for cars' engines to get power figures like this, and I believe Steve Morse is credited enough where I can see this being legit. My main concern, however, is what is Devel going to do with the rest of the car? For example, its aerodynamics, tires, chassis, and cooling systems. It takes a lot more than just a powerful engine to get 300 miles an hour, because like I said, we've seen engines like this before. A lot of drag cars have 4,000 horsepower engines, but they're designed as one-trick ponies, and they require extreme maintenance after repeated use. So if Devel is planning on making this a road-going, street-legal production car, it's hard to believe that it's gonna hold itself together after being consistently used on a daily basis. So why does it even need all that power in the first place? They could probably be better off using half that power, and then instead focus on engineering the rest of the car to survive the power that it has. They need to extensively design all the other aspects, and until they make a running prototype that can achieve similar benchmarks to current existing hypercars like the Koenigsegg Agera RS and Bugatti Chiron, I still think they have their head in their clouds. However, I'm glad to see that they've put this much effort in, but I want them to continue doing so, and I'll save my applause until the show hits the road. The newcomer to the 300-mile-an-hour plus claiming gang, the Hennessey F5 perhaps has the best chance of coming close or actually meeting its claim. Unlike the other manufacturers featured on this list, Hennessey actually has a talent for making and modifying fast cars, as they've done this very well with the Venom GT and other projects like the Exorcist and a whole bunch of Vipers that he started his company with. I'd say his company most certainly has the prowess to design another groundbreaking hypercar, but I still am going to hold my applause for them as well. At the end of the day, the Venom F5 is still in its shell car phase, and if you don't know what a shell car is, it's basically a car, it's just what it sounds like. It's a body shell, that's it. Sometimes the chassis that the car sits on is not even the real official chassis that will be used in the end design. It can just be made of wood and plastic sometimes. In other words, it's just something the companies show, they just want to showcase a pretty car, you know, in hopes to attract investors. This has been really overused as of recent, like everyone and their mother seems to be doing it, and they do it to generate hype without having to go through the expensive and laborious process of actually developing a rolling prototype. I'm a Hennessey Venom fanboy, don't get me wrong, I love the Venom GT, even though people called it an overglorified kit car. I believe that Hennessey had something going there. However, I do want to make sure that I do want to kind of hold back my hype for this, because I don't want it to just be, you know, him just purposely generating hype from all these debuts, never actually attracting any investors, and then just ditching the project, because that would just break my heart. So that's why I'm kind of withholding myself from getting too hyped about it, because we all know what happened with the Trial Nemesis dilemma. And if you don't even know what the Trial Nemesis is, that's my point exactly. It was this American hypercar that wanted to break, you know, be all groundbreaking and stuff, never even exited the shell car phase, so it didn't even have a functioning engine. To all the Asphalt 8 fanboys who love to try Nemesis, it never existed in real life as a running car. You love a plastic toy, essentially. That's not me bashing on you, that's me talking about the truth of what shell cars do. You're gonna notice this trend throughout the rest of this list, so again, not bashing Hennessey in specific, I do love them and I respect them, As to whether or not the Venom F5 will exit the shell car phase, only time will tell, and also a lot of money too, so time and a lot of money will tell. I respect Mazda as a company, and they were very credible and experienced. I say were in past tense because they closed down, so they don't exist anymore. During their reign though, they were known for their track performance. However, the Landshark was not directly created by Mazda. The Landshark instead was modified by a third party named Intense Automotive Design. They stripped a Mazda MT900 and rebuilt it to these specifications. I featured this car in my Cars of Corvette Engine series. Having said that, some of this information will be repeated from that video. The Mazda Landshark has a LS7 engine that is twin turbocharged to put 2,500 horsepower. The Landshark weighs 1,898 pounds despite having multiple fuel tanks, and it claimed a top speed of 305 miles an hour and a 0 to 60 time at 2.5 seconds. The Landshark was supposed to debut at the 2009 Bonneville Speed Week. However, despite finding some footage of this car leisurely driving around, I can't seem to find any evidence about it meeting its performance claims, much less showing up to the 2009 Bonneville Speed Week. So, what did Intense Automotive Design actually do with this car? The world may never know. I can't hate Vector, especially after learning about his sad misfortune as a company. I made Supercar database videos about his M12 and W8, and I highly recommend you watch those videos because if you want to learn about one of America's first supercar manufacturers and be on a complete feels trip, definitely go check those videos out. With that said, I wasn't surprised when I found out that he also aimed to make a production car that would claim to have a top speed of over 300 miles an hour. It's really nostalgic as this is just like the old days. Vector is known for announcing cars with outrageous performance claims and then not only not meeting those claims, but usually not even making the car in the first place. It's so tradition that I can't really be mad at them for it. They could tell me that they're about to make a car that goes over 1,000 miles an hour and I'd still probably pat them on the head and give them a gold star and tell them that I believe in them. The Vector WX8 uses a 10-liter V8 engine that is producing around 1,850 horsepower. It supposedly goes from 0 to 60 in just 2.3 seconds. Vector though has since gone quiet, and even though I'm looking through really fogged up rose-tinted goggles because of how much I love them, as far as I'm concerned, Vector Motors is an icon of the past. Maybe someday they'll try again, but for now I can only document their continued misfortune as a misunderstood supercar company. Alright America, we're 0 for 4 on this list. We really have loud mouths, don't we? Why do we have such a horrible habit of announcing amazing hypercars with insane performance claims and then never deliver those promises, much less even make the car in the first place? I'm genuinely hoping the Hennessey Venom F5 will make its claim because one of these cars has to succeed for America's pride at this point. Dear God, the Dagger GT makes me want to cry because it's probably the most try-hard wannabe hypercar on this list. I'm sorry if you're a fan of this car, but let's be real, if a company has never even made a supercar, much less a hypercar, much less a car, now I think of it, it's kind of hard to claim a top speed as outrageous as 315 miles an hour. Mazda is credible, Hennessey is somewhat credible, Vector made some cars, Devell at least has the engine made, so of all the cars on this list, the Dagger is the furthest. And just read this passage from their website, just try not to tell me that this doesn't, that's a double negative, anyways, try to tell me that this doesn't sound like try-hard wannabe. 2 years of research have resulted in a patented design of a unique 500 cubic inch Dstroke supercharged billet aluminum engine loaded with Formula 1, NASCAR, and US military technology. We use cryogenics to harden a 9,500 RPM engine, making 2,000 horsepower on 118 octane racing gas. Sorry for that voice, it makes me want to punch myself in the face, and if you wanted to punch me in the face for using that voice just now, I don't blame you. But did that not just sound a really try-hard wannabe? If it doesn't, I don't know what does to you. 2 years. We all know it takes longer than 2 years to make an engine worthy of a supercar, much less a hypercar. On top of that, what the heck? Why are they throwing in terms like US military, cryogenics, NASCAR in the description? That does not help with its believability. It just sounds like something a 12-year-old wrote who just learned new words. Look at this car's performance goals. 0 to 60 in under 1 second. Under 1 second! That's insanely fast and also insanely ambitious considering not even Devell was talking that much crap about their car. At least they have an actual engine to show their progress so far. I did a lot of bashing this video, some of it was in humor, But understand that it takes more than just a powerful engine and a lightweight body to make a car go 300 miles an hour. In regards to tires, chassis, and overall design, these cars are still lacking a lot. I genuinely want to be proven wrong, so I hope for the continued success from these manufacturers. Except for Mazda, since they closed down. RIP, I'll miss you guys. Regardless, I hope you found this video entertaining. And as always, thank you for watching. Blade Angel out.